The real estate market in 2021 is wild, with escalating prices and multiple offers and time on market shrinking to almost nothing. You would think that we are heading toward another real estate bubble. In today's video, I'll tell you what I think. It's perfectly normal and understandable to think that the dynamics in today's market would be setting us up for a crash. I've thought to myself, this isn't sustainable. We're seeing too much of the power in the seller's side right now, and the buyers are having to compete so heavily that something's gotta give. But I've got 6 slides today that will show you that even though we probably need something of a correction in the market, we're not set up for a crash. This first slide talks about the default risk in the mortgage market, and it shows how pre-2008, the lending standards were so loose that it was hard not to qualify for a mortgage. And you see shortly after the crash that lending standards were really tightened up. And in fact, a lot of those in the lending market right now think that standards could be loosened up quite a bit and still be quite safe. I think it's great that we have these protections in place right now, and it keeps us from having a lot of defaults in the market. Here's another one that really jumps out at me, and I do see this changing a little bit, but it's nothing like 2003, 4, 5, where the market really built up fast. We had heavy appreciation for 4 straight years leading up to the crash. Here for our last 4 years, we're in single digits in appreciation. I do think 2021, we will see double digits almost across the country in 2021. So this slide may not have quite as much credence as some of the next ones, but it does show that this really is nothing like the buildup to the last bubble. This one speaks to where we're at. If you look at the number of homes on the market right now, it is almost nothing. So we look at the buildup to 2008, and we've got 3.9 months of inventory, 5 months of inventory, 6.4 months of inventory, and 9.6 months of inventory. A seller's market for a lot of people is a good bar to think of is a balanced market is 6 months of inventory. Anything above that is a buyer's market. Anything below that is a seller's market. As you can see in 2020, we had 2.1 months of inventory nationally. Right now, it's in the ones. We have, I think, 1.2 months of inventory right now in Dakota County, and about the same across the entire Twin Cities metro. That is a stark difference from what happened in the buildup to the last correction or to the bubble in 2008. Here's another one that makes a lot of sense to look at. So we've got a shortage of inventory right now. You got to hope that new construction can make up that shortfall of inventory. Well, what's new construction doing right now? We look at the run up to the crash, and you had a tremendous number of units being added to the market and added to the inventory constantly. Now, since the crash, we've had 13 straight years below the 50-year average for construction of new homes. That's a huge difference, that the construction industry is not making up the shortfall we have in inventory. So in a simple supply and demand thing, they're not helping today's buyer, and they're also not contributing to a bubble coming up at us. This one talks to affordability. So in 1985 to 2000, just over 20% of the average income in America was required to buy the median priced home in America. In the crash, or just before the crash, over a quarter of income was required. Right now, with low interest rates and even in a rising price environment, just under 15% of the median income in America is needed to buy the median priced home. So homes are much more affordable now than they were leading up to the 2008 crash. Next one is kind of an interesting one as well. What is America doing with their home equity? Back in 2004, 5, 6, here we got 5, 6, 7 actually. A lot of Americans were using their home equity as an ATM. People were cashing out their home equity and they were buying jet skis and going on vacations. And some of them were reinvesting in their homes. But what happened is people had less equity in their home than they do today. You look at $824 billion in home equity cashed out in those 3 years leading up to the crash. In the last 3 years here, $348 billion. So less than half of the equity that was cashed out before the crash has been cashed out here in the last 3 years. Great sign that we're in an environment that's not set up for a crash, because even if prices do go down slightly, or even, I don't know, 5, 6, 8, 10%, most American homeowners will have the ability to still have equity in their home and sell that home if need be. That is our last slide here. So I'd like to hear what you think about an impending crash. There are lots of people out there who do believe we're going to see a real problem coming up in the market. These slides tell me that we're not headed for a crash. I'd actually like to see a correction. I'd like to see this hyper-heated market cool down and see property values stay steady for a little while, just so buyers can catch their breath and we get a little more balance in the market. If you know of anybody who could benefit from seeing this video, somebody who thinks the sky is falling, or somebody who is worried about buying right now because they think there's a crash coming, please share it with them. If you think that they could benefit from talking to me, I would love to talk with them as well. My number is 612-430-5494. Thanks so much for watching today, and I hope you found this helpful.